Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to a capsule selection. I have a vibe for you as always. Today we're going to discuss one of the centuries-old topics when it comes to perfumery, the rose and oud combination. So for me, in discussing this on the dry down today, I want to talk about how these fragrances aren't just an accessory to your life in a one-day profile. These are basically experiences. And to me, like diving into this list today of timeless and allure of rose and oud, it's just fascinating to me how these have captured me. And so with these two notes, I've understood and understand that they are something that have been paired together for centuries. And over the last decade of me being in this journey of perfume collecting, perfume knowledge that I'm trying to gain, I understand that these two notes together have been debated over the last decade about who can wear it, who shouldn't wear it. Is it romantic? Is it sensual? Is it sexy? And so when it comes to this particular note combination, to me, they create a iconic harmony and depth that is romantic. And over the past week, I wore 7 different variations of this. So I want to take you on that journey, and with each fragrance that tells their own story, and just basically, I want to share that story with you. So if this sounds like the type of content you think you'll enjoy, pull up a seat, pour a glass, and of course, let's enhance. When it comes to different combinations of fragrance notes, to me, the rose oud is just the one that is like a tailored suit for the soul. These particular note combinations shape the way that I go out into the world when it comes to being elegant and eloquent and proficient in my day. So when it comes to rose and oud combinations, you're not just wearing something nice. You're wearing something exquisite. And so for me, carrying the air of intrigue that says, yeah, I know what I'm doing, is something that comes off of me as an attitude when I wear a rose and oud combination. So if I'm just picking up coffee, if I'm just running errands day to day, if I'm in a bold mood, or if I'm in a calm mood, if I'm in a situation where I have a high stakes meeting, anywhere I have a goal, I want to put a little bit of edge on my fragrance, I go to rose oud. So if I'm a person that has collected enough of these, which I think I have, I got about 27 or 28 in my collection of these variations. So I want to talk about them. And so welcome back to the Dry Down. This is the channel where we explore the world of fragrances. And it's just going to be a great video today. We want to talk about some of the finer things in life, which is the rose oud combination. And pairing these with our equal parts bold and equal parts delicate, they're fiery and they're romantic. It's a duo that captures the imagination of others when you wear these particular scents. So these are things that pull you into a world that have almost an exotic luxury and a timeless elegance. And so this week, I set out to answer a simple question. Can rose and oud ever get boring? And to me, that's an emphatic and absolute no. Each of these 7 fragrances that I'm going to put on you guys today is something that I wore on a different ride, from a different space, from a different moment, an introspective situation in my life, that I could write down what I felt, write down how it made me feel in a situation of a bubble, but also understanding my recollection of how I wore these in the past. And so these are going to be great reviews for me. A statement of charisma is what these basically are. So let's explore this particular list, starting out with one of my favorites, and that is Dasman, that I just picked up. Let's talk about Dasman real quick. So Dasman, when it comes to the rose oud combination, Dasman is the one that is the newest in my collection. I've smelled it before, sampled it, but it was a really long time ago when it first came out. But Dasman as a scent, man, this is one I wore to a business meeting, and that turned into a social gathering. And it felt like putting on a piece of gilded armor and wearing Dasman on that day. The oud in here is dark and smoky, while it just does the perfect layering effect. It exudes the personification of authority when you're in business meetings. So it was great for wearing in that particular moment in time. The rose adds just enough softness to keep this one approachable. And to me, it had my colleagues leaning in all evening long, just everyone around. You could feel the invitation of the scent, the allure of the scent. And so both literally and figuratively, people were leaning in and smelling the fragrance and being very comfortable around it. At the evening time, after the meeting we had, we went to a lounge, and it was no different. It was people around me. It was a gathering of about 6 or 7 of us, and we had more people come in and have a moment of just a fun moment. Many people, you know, you have people that are with you that have other people walking into a situation or a lounge that know someone's walking in or feel someone approaching that they might want to flirt with. So it was one of those days where you just had a social gathering after a business affair, and that was the perfect scenario to see how this one went off because I had not worn it in those specific scenarios just yet. And so for me, at the end of the day, this is one that's all about a commanding presence, and it went off spectacularly for a business meeting that went into a social gathering. And that was the first one on the list. On Monday, Dasman went off perfectly. On Tuesday, second day of the 7-day week, I wanted to wear something from Orman Jane that's ELIXIR form. They make some great elixirs. So Tuesday I wore Taif ELIXIR by Orman Jane. This is a Taif Rose fragrance, and this is one that I wore when I had a full day of errands running around the city. And Taif ELIXIR was one of the best companions I can have in a day like that. The rose here is crisp and bright, almost a sparkling style of rose that's evocative of a jovial vibe. And so when you go out into life, into the world, and you want to have an upbeat manner, the Taif ELIXIR is the Rose Oud combination for that. The Oud in this one hums in the background like a steady beat. It's just like a Sade song in 1993. It just comes, and the beat is just one you ride. It's very, very soft spoken, but has this authority yet beauty about it that just commands attention. And it feels grounded as well, which is one of the better parts of this particular scent. It feels as though it's the perfect companion to a leisure moment while you're just trying to be in your day. But it's one that you always want to feel put together with. I'll say that. So without being over the top, this is the perfect one for that particular time and place. To me, I would say this: picture chilling. You got a sunset in front of you. You're at a coffee shop or a wine bar, and you have a cup of coffee or a Sauvignon Blanc in your hand. You got your sunglasses. You got the quiet ambiance around you with just a little bit of the hum of the crowd behind you. And it's a quiet confidence that you are stepping with when you wear this particular scent. It's perfectly matched to the masculine skin. To me, I think that the one that is the EDP is a little bit more feminine, but this ELIXIR with that addition of incense to this one comes off quite spectacularly as a Rose Oud combination. And that's, for me, like I said, a chill day, running errands, kind of like a leisure day. It was perfect for wearing this particular scent in that arena. That is Taif ELIXIR by Orman Jane. On Wednesday, I had to wear one of my babies from the house of Xerjoff. I spoke about how Alexandria 2 is a fragrance that I can't live without. The iteration of Alexandria 3 is just perfectly matching Rose and Oud to the Alexandria 2 DNA. And for me, it delivered. It is a spectacular Rose Oud fragrance. It's lush, it's sophisticated, and undeniably romantic. And so Wednesday, it was a night to wear it. The rose is full-bodied and rich. To me, while the Oud adds a golden sweetness, this texture that feels warm and inviting and sexy and sensual that you want in a fragrance when you want to go on a date night. So I paired this one on an evening where I put on a dark blazer, a dark pair of denim, and some chocolate brown jodhpur boots. Was going out to a little bit of an affair, but it was laid back. It was something where conversation was needed, and it was just a chill moment. And this, like I said, went off quite well as a Rose Oud combination in that particular moment in time. Wednesday was great wearing it. So to me, this is one that creates intimacy, and a fine intimacy it is. It's like a secret between you and whoever's lucky enough to get close enough to smell it on you. It's a very intimate, sensual, sexy style fragrance that is just, it exudes sophistication, and it's just an exotic, erotic smelling fragrance. So that is Alexandria 3 by the House of Xerjoff. Wore that on Wednesday. Thursday, came up with Oud PALAO by the House of Diptyque. This one here was a pick for a casual evening out with my dogs, my boys. We were going out to the cigar bar, and this one I bought with me, and it just brought the right amount of edge. It's one, when it talk about a Rose Oud combination, this one, the rose is smoky and slightly rugged, as well as the Oud, because the Oud gives it this earthy vibe that feels effortless, cool. It's not chic, it's not very playful, it's rugged, cool. It's this very fascinating way that Diptyque put together this beautiful Rose Oud combination. It's one that has that right amount of funk and edge to it. That Oud in this one is green faceted, deep, dank, woody faceted, while the rose just has that cutting edge through it, like I said. And to me, it's a fragrance equivalent to the style of the clothes I was rocking that day, which was a dope Sherlin coat. I had on my black denim, my shrunken buffalo service boots, which are a fire pair of I don't know if you guys know what service boots are. You can go to places like Viborg, You can go to places like Truman Boot Company. These American-made boots that are just fabulous service boots from the wars of the past. They call them service boots, and I have a pair that is a black shrunken bison. Anyway, that's off topic, but they're a fire pair of boots. And so I wore that with black pants, a white shirt, and a shearling coat for that day just to be out with the dogs, or my dogs. And it was a great, great evening. So for me, this one here is one that's cool and confident, and just a little bit of rebelliousness inside of it. It has the right amount of intrigue just as well. So it keeps you feeling like the most interesting man in the room. And that is exactly how I felt in the cigar bar, sipping on a, what I had that day was a Macallan 12, and then I had a new Merlot that the cigar bar had gotten in that they were offering to people at like a discount price. So I figured I would try it to see how it was. And that was a great evening to wear Oud PALAO, hanging out with my boys. Next up, gentlemen, I got SAHRAA Oud by the House of Fragrance Du Bois. Now this one here, this is one of those top 10 fragrances for me. And I love this particular DNA from Fragrance Du Bois. And it is one that, for a quiet evening at home, it was just the right scent. I picked up a book the other day called Another Man, or top of my head, Another Man in the Streets by Carl Phillips. Phenomenal author out of London. And to me, it's one of the best books I've picked up in a long time. I am a literary addict. I love to read books. That's one of the things that keeps me going. I'm not a big TV watcher, TV fan. I like to see the texture and textile of print media. And that's one thing that keeps me educated. That's one thing I love to read magazines. I love to read books. But I got a book by Carl Phillips, and this one here was my companion for the evening, reading that book. This one here set the perfect mood. The oud in this one is very warm and resinous, and it creates a cocoon effect that has a great depth to it. And for me, the rose in this one is a whisper of soft and calming type of background for this one. Its appeal to me is kind of like this. I get this perspective. I get this retrospective calm to this one that makes me feel chill. I can sit back on the couch. I can sit back on the ottoman. I can sit back in the duvet cover and just, not the duvet cover, but the, what am I saying? The throw. I'm saying duvet cover like I'm putting my sheets on like I did this morning, but it's the throw. Excuse me for that human moment. The throw that you just sit back, you got chill vibes all day long, and it's a very exquisite fragrance that is exotic but can still put you in that state of mind where you want to feel just calm and laid back. And so for me, this one was the one for a moment when I want to just sit back, mentally recharge, and still be in command and connected to something luxurious. And choosing this one for that day, it was a work day, then it became a just chill evening where I just had to settle in and just take life as it was coming in and understanding this new book I picked up. And so for that particular moment, as I stated, this one here is one that is a quiet, cool, introspective scent, but still sexy in its wear. Different from all the others that I just showed you because of the way that the rose oud combination counteracts with some of the resinous notes and amber, but just as sexy as any on this list. But just like I said, calming, collective, and just that whisper of rose just treats this one so good. Once again, that is SAHRAA Oud by Fragrance Du Bois. Next up on the list, we got Pearl Oud by Kilian. When it comes to something I wanted to reach for on a day I wanted to just feel polished, Pearl Oud was the one. This is a Christian Provenzano creation, similar to Namir, similar to a Rasasi fragrance, but to me, well, not very different. It has its nuanced difference to it. And I want to pull out something different from Namir because I already wore Dasman as a Boadicea. So pulling out by Kilian's Rose Oud combination was just a no-brainer for me. And so when I needed to feel polished and in control, I had lunch with family, and then I had an intimate jazz concert going out that evening. And so this fragrance kept me grounded in the daytime, yet elevated feeling in the evening. The jazz concert was just a phenomenal set, a quartet that I wanted to sit down and just relax. I had company. Everyone felt at ease, and everyone felt just, look, we were suited, blazers, no ties, but blazers, button-ups, jeans. That type of attire is always acceptable in a jazz bar. And this particular night, it was just one of the best sets of trumpet playing I'd heard in a long time. And it really, this scent as a 6-hour scent, I had resprayed midday, but as a 6-hour scent going into the evening, the dry down was just phenomenal smelling. And so to me, what you get in this one is the rose. The rose is a creamy and smooth classic that is just perfectly juxtapositioned against the oud that feels refined and silky in this one. This is not a funky type of oud. This is a real elegant, clear rose oud combination that does not have the peaks and valleys. I would say this one, just as similarly said, like Sade in 93, it rides the perfect beat. There's nothing that overpitched or underpitched. It's just the right amount of rose and oud surrounded by the different variation and notes that they have put into this one to structure it as a beautiful night out fragrance. And so for me, it was like wearing a perfectly tailored suit. It's not flashy, but it's unmistakably sharp. And that's the thing you love about this one. People notice, but in a subtle way. In that way that you just, they notice. It's one that, it's always interesting to pick up on when people have a certain distinctive look at you or distinctive smile at you when they have smelled a fragrance. And that's exactly what Pearl Oud did. And that's exactly what it was pulled out for. Like I said, the rose and oud in this one is perfect. I mean, it's slightly jammy and sweet rose with a nice oud that is nothing. It's not ferocious. It's just going to come off clean. It's going to come off polished, and that's exactly what you want from this one. Like I stated, midday, I had a family lunch with a lot of my family members due to my family member having a baby shower, and then led that into the evening where it was a nice jazz evening, and this one went off perfectly. I think this one was the perfect style to wear in that type of day and composition to have, and going into those two different life variations. So at the end of the day, Pearl Oud was the perfect combination for that day. To cap off the week, I wore Roja Parfums Taif Aoud to church, and that one went off quite well. Church is something I'm trying to get back into. I'm trying to connect myself back to my faith and come in, just do a little bit more when it comes to connecting myself back to Christ and back to my faith. And one way I'm trying to do that is attend church a little more. So I'm going to do that more in 2025. This is not me telling you you should. I think that you should connect to your spirituality the best way that you can and know how to bring clarity and calm to your life. To me, going that way is a route that I'm trying to see works for me. If it does, I hope it does, because I'm trying it. If it doesn't, I won't blame anybody. It will just be me trying to give my best shot at connecting myself back to my religion. But at the end of the day, I chose to wear Taif Aoud to that particular situation. And for me, this is one that's a great choice for a formal type of day. You want to be even like evening dinners and evening wear, or just something you want to wear to a church effect, something like that. This is an unforgettable fragrance for those moments. I picked this up as a wedding fragrance. I didn't have a wedding or anything like that to go to on Sunday. I knew that Sunday would be a much more relaxed day than I would have worn this in, but I still put it in a situation where everyone around me had their elevated attire on to see how it went, and it went off perfectly. And so the rose in this particular scent is rich and slightly powdery, and it's paired with one of the bold oud that demand attention. This is a fragrance here that when you wear it, you want to own the room. And that's exactly how it went. It was just a beautiful situation to wear that in with my gray Prince type suit. It went off quite well. I can't imagine a better fragrance that it wouldn't have been paired to a church evening or a church day. And so wearing it for weddings, like I said, it always went off well for that particular event in the springtime. And so it went off quite spectacularly on my Sunday evening. So I would say for this one, think black tie, think sophisticated, and think about the right amount of charm juxtaposed to drama. It turned heads, and people were asking questions, which I did get twice, which was basically, what are you wearing? And that's the way. It's a phenomenal scent. Just well made. Taif Aoud, powdery, that's the right amount of leathery faucets and oud, that just combination coming off with some incense and that Taif rose. It's a well-made, well-tailored scent that I think everyone should get a sample of, because this one here, I'll say this, while not my favorite rose oud, it is one of my favorite fragrances because of the way that this incense, I'm an incense lover, as you guys know, I told you, but I'm changing my paradigm shift from a lot of fragrances to go into incense. And the rose combination with this incense and those resins is just gorgeous. So that's what I wore to end out the 7-day week. Taif Aoud by Roja Parfums. So ladies and gentlemen, after a week living with these 7 particular oud fragrances, I can confidently say that rose and oud is a pairing that will never get old for me. Gorgeous fragrances. Each one of these perfumes brought something unique to the table and reminding me basically that while this duo has stood the test of time, there's always uniqueness that can come from this actual DNA, which I love, because I just picked up one recently and the DNA just slightly averts itself from the other profiles in my collection. So I'm very happy to say that Rose and Oud for me will always be something daring and soft and retrospective, giving me something that just basically is a valid perfume to wear to any occasion. So if you enjoyed this deep dive into these particular Rose Oud combinations, all I ever ask that you do is hit the subscribe button for more exploration into fragrances, into wine, into cigars, and all the other lifestyle topics that we're going to bring up here on the Dry Down. I'm going to put a video next to me here on the left. This one's going to be, maybe even the right. I think I'm going to put it on the right. This is going to be my video for the last that I posted on Tuesday about the 8 fragrances I can't live without. I think you guys would be surprised at how many of these fragrances in my collection are just wonderful. But the 8 I couldn't live without for wintertime are just going to be something you might be surprised by. So I'm going to put that video here to the right. And always remember, as a perfect continuation to this fragrance journey, hit the like and subscribe button so the algorithm will always show up for me to give you this content. Until next time, until next video, stay elegant, stay inspired, and as always, stay enhancing. I will see you next time. Peace.